Tehrani, we're at the IT Expo Tech Super Show. Officially, it's the second day. The year's 2020, and on our show is Bernard Breton. He is with Adaptiv Networks. Bernard, welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing very well. It's nice to be here again this year.
Thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. Last year on our interview, you'd recently renamed your company, right? So that seems to have gone very well, right?
Absolutely. The brand has really resonated with the ecosystem, both the partners, the customers, as it really sort of talks about one of the core value proposition of SD1, which is the agility, and Adaptiv sort of makes you think of that.
And the old name, can we say the old name?
Sure, Tello IP.
Just in case some people remember you from those days and they don't know the name change, now we've covered both bases. Now, in an interview I had with you sometime back, you made a point of saying that a hot new segment of the market is just the internet, or software-defined internet. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. In fact, when you think of the SD1 space globally, you have to go back to what are the value propositions of SD1, and it's one of them is you've got businesses which are relying on digital services to conduct their business as part of the digital transformation. But many of those businesses, really what they're looking for is that unbreakable access to those digital services, but they don't really need a virtual private network across their sites. Think of retail, for example, think of healthcare clinics. They really have moved all of their applications in the cloud, and that's really what SD Internet, the value proposition of SD Internet is. It's something that's easy to consume, even easier to set up than SD1, and provides that agility, that robustness, which is expected for those businesses that for them now, really access to digital services is fundamental. If you've moved a lot of your processes and tools into the cloud, if the cloud isn't there, you're done. And as the internet really does well for that. So that represents a fairly significant percentage of our customer base.
That's a great point. So why are companies choosing Adaptiv as opposed to other players in the space?
Yeah, so first of all, in the SD1 network space, you have to understand is this is just like in any other market, there's no such thing as what's the best SD1. When someone asks me the question, what's the best SD1, my first is, what do you do? What do you want? What are you looking for? And it's not a one-size-fits-all. You need to understand what your requirements are, and on the basis of those requirements, you will be better with one or the other. We're not claiming to be the best SD1 for everybody, but we're focusing on that market segment, which is looking for that simplicity. The businesses that have mostly outsourced their IT, typically to MSP, so IT managed service providers, they're looking for simplicity, agility, and they're typically smaller businesses. I'm not saying that they're small businesses, but they're smaller businesses, they're mid-market, they're not the large enterprises. They don't have that centralized IT function. And for these businesses, cost effectiveness is also very important. So we really focus on that notion of simplicity, agility, and cost effectiveness. And that market segment for us is really the mid-market and the large SMB, who are distributed businesses nonetheless. And that's a segment where we're putting all of our efforts and attention and making sure that we're the right product market fit in that market segment. So we're not trying to have a product that's great for both General Electric and healthcare clinics, a group of clinics with 5 clinics. I don't believe that's realistic to think that, just like it's not realistic to think that you can have a car that can go 200 kilometers an hour as well as being able to haul 20,000 pounds of material.
I think the Tesla Cybertruck might be the closest.
It might be the closest, but they're not really cheap, is it?
No, that's a good point. Yeah, and the 500 mile range version is not out yet. I'd like to have one of those, by the way. So if Elon Musk is watching, hopefully he is. I know he watches our program. Hopefully he'll send me one in my garage for a review. So Bernard, any news that we should know about?
We just made an acquisition in December. We announced that in January. We acquired a business, LiveQOS, who are an Ottawa-based business just like us, so we've been able to integrate the team, world-class engineering team. That team is coming with, that acquisition allows us to both accelerate our roadmap thanks to that world-class engineering team, and they come with great technologies around link conditioning, around smart routing, around the protocol acceleration. They're specialists of making a TCP, a UDP TCP environment perform better. We are specialists at creating an overlay to bring agility and cost effectiveness. So that was a great combination.
Wow, that's fantastic. And in terms of what's next, what's happening at the company? What can you tell us?
Well, this year it's all about execution. We have a strong growth plan ahead of us. We've multiplied the number of partners in 2019 by a factor of 5. So we have 5 times more partners now than we had a year ago. So it's all about continuing to recruit more partners to be part of that Adaptiv network success story, and as well executing with those partners so that they can truly deliver that value proposition to their end customers.
And how do people find you?
Well, on the website, of course, adaptivnetworks.com, on LinkedIn, and at the various trade shows where we're quite active in the digital world.
And we should just mention the Adaptiv is without the E, it's Adaptiv with a V.
That's correct, that's that Adaptiv-network without an E at the end of Adaptiv, yes.
Thanks for being here.
It's a pleasure.